the best of money matters. Right Business.
Welcome to the Right Business, where we dive deep into the stories of trailblazers who dare to disrupt the status quo, find the gap in the market to find the right business. Hello, I'm Hongbin Jeong. Imagine an app that doesn't just track your steps or calories, but one that actually checks in, encourages you, and keeps you motivated like a coach would. That's exactly what our next founder wanted to create. She believes what women really needed was emotional consistency, someone to show up even at 3 a.m. and keep them going. Enter Mabel, an AI wellness companion designed by women for women. Its first personality, Evren, is a soft-spoken Korean oppa coach who guides users with gentle nudges, habit coaching, and interactive story scenes. But can AI really replicate the emotional depth of a human coach? And what does it take to make a digital companion feel personal, supportive, and motivating every single day? Well, joining us today to share more is Mabel Loh, who is the founder of Maibel. Hi, Mabel. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me here today.
Thank you so much for joining us. Well, Mabel, you, after years as an educator and then a women's health coach, you personally transformed your health, losing over 45 kg. And then from there, you launched AmFit to help women build sustainable habits. Walk us through that journey and explain what inspired you to take that leap from human coaching to designing an AI companion like Mabel.
So I actually started out teaching, and I love seeing people grow, but I realized that most of us never got taught how to care for ourselves sustainably. So when I was 16, I was morbidly obese, and it really affected me a lot. So in terms of how I viewed myself, my abilities, and my confidence level, and I was inspired by my teachers to actually start picking up healthier habits. And I've actually gone through an entire spectrum of extremes. So I tried different diets, like I even picked up like bodybuilding, and I went through too many fad diets to actually count. But the reason as to why I've managed to lose and sustain like the loss is actually through finding things that could actually help me keep to it. I could stick to the routines, right? And this is actually what inspired me to start AmFit, which is my women's health and fitness coaching business to help women build healthy habits.
All right. Well, let's talk about Maibel, your platform. It focuses on emotional consistency and habit coaching. How did you identify this unmet need in women's wellness, and why do you think it's so important?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I first thought of scaling my impact to support women across their evolving wellness journeys, I realized that I had hit a limit. So I couldn't be there for them like 24/7, like when they needed me at 3 a.m. or when they were going through like a spiral, they were stress eating. So then it wasn't humanly possible for me to be there. So I thought, what if I could scale my impact, right? To clone myself. And that's what got me to think about creating Maibel. So actually the name comes from like Maibel.
Yes.
So it's like an AI version of me. But then it slowly evolved into creating something beyond that, where I wanted to include like the interests of women, where then I brought in like the storytelling angle. So Maibel is actually a story-driven AI wellness companion for women, and it actually features the first companion, which is Evren, the oppa coach. That's how it came to be.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, we always think about, only if we could clone ourselves, but you actually did it. For users building habits then, what's the most heartwarming feedback you've received about the difference Maibel has made in their daily routines?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think a lot of times you think it's like something that's super memorable. It's like a huge event, but it's actually the small day-to-day consistent check-ins. And I've had users tell me that they always feel really unseen and unheard because they do perform a lot of the emotional and mental labor in their day-to-day lives for their loved ones. But what Evren was able to do was to just check in and remind her of having to drink water, or even if she had to face like an important like driving lesson or exam, and checking in. All these small little check-ins make a huge difference. And I think it's just all these like consolidated things that made me realize that it's the smallest day-to-day consistent check-ins that matter the most for women. And they actually incorporated some of the habits like taking a drink of water before their meals, or taking a longer route to work. And it's just because he checked in consistently. And this is what really was memorable for me.
Okay, so for someone using Mabel for the first time, what does a typical interaction look like? Or do I have to say something first, or how does it all work?
So it's currently running on Telegram as our first. Yeah, so it's on Telegram, and then there's an onboarding process through a conversational chat with your companion. So your companion will to find out like your preferences, your routines, your usual habits. And it's throughout a few days where they'll find out more about you as a person. And then a program is actually catered towards helping you achieve your healthy habit goals, right? So it's more like a holistic wellness companion. So there's no like fixed program. And that's the unique, I think, angle that we're approaching this. It's not like we're fixating on like providing a strength training program, for instance. It depends on your unique goals, and it depends on your stage of life. And after that, you just go on that adventure, choose your path adventure with your companion. And every day he will check in and he'll share a bit more about his own life.
Okay.
So there's an entire world that we have created, and all the daily habits that you build is actually called glow keeping. So you keep your glow by fulfilling all these healthy habits that help you achieve your goals.
But I mean, there's a lot of wellness apps out there. So why choose Evren? I mean, why choose Maibel? I mean, how do these elements that Maibel has work together to create this sense of consistency that other wellness apps can't?
Yeah, there are actually many wellness apps out there, and you're right. And most of the time, these apps actually focus a lot on metrics tracking. So if you realize, they'll give you like boxes that you have to tick off, or they help you track like your progress across a period of time. But across like the past few years of teaching like women across different life stages, it's not really about the data that they need. They don't really need another program. They don't need to track like their water intake or maybe their weight even, or even their macros. It's about having someone who's there consistently to encourage them to go on, even if they feel like they've failed today, right? And I think women specifically require a lot of emotional support, and I think a lot of the solutions out there are not built for that, because in the space of technological solutions, we see a lot more of male-coded biases that we might not notice. For instance, for women, when I'm designing the product for women would say, oh, I would love to just have someone just ask me about my day, right? But then if you're looking at a habit tracking app, it'll give you the program and you're meant to just fulfill it, but they will not check in the way that a real human coach would.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why I'm trying to fill the gap.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, I want to talk about Evren, because Evren is a so-called soft-spoken Korean oppa wellness coach. Why Evren? I mean, why this Korean oppa personality? How did you come up with this design?
Okay, that's a really good question. So I actually drew inspiration from like K-drama archetypes.
Okay.
I don't think it's just for like trend's sake, but because I think it captures an emotionally intelligent kind of figure that a lot of women want in their lives, like that soft support. And you'll be surprised to know that I have a lot of users who are not just single women. They're women who are attached, and they do desire that kind of support that it's just not humanly possible for someone to provide that 24/7. And I realized then it also stemmed from my own understanding of, in my coaching experiences, when I talk to women, their hobbies. Like easily they will tell me like, oh, one of the favorite ways to de-stress is to watch a Korean drama. And we love stories. And I think that's the way in which we try and like fill our time when we are not actually working. And okay, this is a funny story. So when I actually started coaching and I wanted to motivate the women to do another set of squats, and it was challenging, I would have my personal stories and anecdotes, and I'll say, okay, if you want to hear what happens next, then you need to do like just a few more reps. And then they would do it, and then they would get so excited to hear what's next. So this was actually how the inspiration came about. So I'm combining like the different interests of women into this unique product that would meet their needs, you know? Yeah.
You did exactly what my math tutor used to do when I would ask her about stories about her life. She'll be like, okay, you solve this one math problem, then I'll tell you more. Anyways, but what about Evren? What are his responses like to make it, or to portray this Korean oppa kind of personality? What does he do, or what does he say that makes people feel, oh, he's there for me?
Okay, so I think one thing that I really wanted to convey was that he had to be listening before he gave solutions.
Okay.
So one thing he would do was to, initially when we built the first version of Evren, like we realized that even if you use like the AI solutions out there today, most of the time they give you solutions instead of trying to affirm you and telling you, okay, I hear you, like what do you need? Do you need a comforting ear or a solution? So this was one of the ways in which we started off, by making sure that empathy and emotional intelligence is the first requirement. Then we provide like the advice that would be necessary. And of course, the Korean oppa angle is his day-to-day habits. So he has very specific personality traits and preferences. Like maybe, I don't want to spoil it all, but one of his favorite hobbies are like habits are actually to make like samgyetang, like
Okay.
you make like ginseng chicken, and then he will actually send photos of his daily routines.
Oh.
So this actually mimics the rapport that I have when I train my trainees, because when the coach sends a meal, then the user sends another photo back, and then there's a back and forth, and it makes them feel like they're not alone on their journey, and it also inspires them. So it's actually catered to specific cultural preferences and your own tastes and preferences as well. And so he has his own unique kind of life, and women actually start asking like, oh, what are you doing today? How's your habit? And this is why it became an entire world that I'm building now.
Oh my goodness. Okay, but a little concern here. What if, because his interactions are very un-robot-like, right? Un-AI-like, and he'll have these conversations. What if they fall in love with Evren?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
So when we first tested this out, we realized that the women were forming a really strong rapport even across the first few days. So I made sure that when I'm designing Evren, it's with the focus of getting them closer to nature, to reality, helping them achieve their wellness goals. So a lot of the companions out there, they are meant to suck you in to the virtual world, and that's what I want to avoid, because it's always about the user's habits and their own goals. And we made sure that the AI is aware that they're not meant to replicate like a real human partner. They are meant to just guide them on their journey. And if the user crosses the line, we have clear like guardrails to prevent this from escalating. Yeah, and also we made sure that there's a limit as to how much interactions they'll be having. So we're not meant to just keep sucking them into the world to having endless conversations, because that's not the point. It's more like we're here to guide you, you need advice, and then we'll send you on your way once I've given you what you are needing, and helping you to gain the tools. As a coach should empower you with the tools and the skills to continue on your journey even without the support of Evren. Yeah.
Okay. What if people don't want Evren and they want a different personality, or even maybe a Korean onni, or maybe they want The Rock to train them? Are you any at works of creating different personalities?
Yeah, this is actually in our plan.
Okay.
So in the future, we are hoping to have more personalization. It's a whole universe. So it's a glow-keeping arc. So the concept of keeping your glow, right?
Yeah.
So other characters will come in, but you have to fulfill the first basic level, which is like healthy habits, the foundations. Then you get to unlock different storylines, different even paths. Like you want to do like strength training, you want to do like more of the nutritional path. So all these are options that we're planning to roll out, but it comes like as we continue discovering what women really need, and then we'll build in that direction. Yeah.
Okay, but how do you make sure that these women are actually doing the things that they're supposed to do and not just, faking it on their text?
Yeah, so we actually do have to, we track like their images. So the AI can actually read the images that they're sending.
Really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
for example, if they said that finish drinking like a specific amount of water, for now it's just image based, but in the future we'll link with APIs to their devices, like how a usual tracking app would actually do. Yeah, and this is how we plan to keep them accountable. But as always, they could always they could fake it if they want to, but then this is about keeping themselves
Yeah.
accountable. But we do try and encourage them to just form these healthy habits, because they know why they're coming onto the platform. It's because they have this goal. And if they're just looking for companionship, then Maibel might not be the best solution for them. There are easier ways to get that same kind of interaction with a companion without having to put the sweat in.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I start a fitness journey, it's the idea of being motivated, and I feel like this is the perfect way to keep yourself motivated. You essentially have a partner keeping you in track, right, of your fitness journey. Now, looking at the bigger picture here, how do you see AI, complementing rather than replacing human coaching in women's health and wellness?
Yeah, so I think when I created Evren, it wasn't meant to be something that would replace me. It was meant to complement what I could provide for my community.
All right.
So it doesn't matter if you have other like healthcare practices or other fitness habits that you already have in place. It's more like supporting you through that journey that will evolve across different phases of life. And I hope to have an AI companion that could grow with you. And at the same time, it is meant to provide you with that enjoyment that should come naturally as you build habits that fit into your life. Yeah, so I think it's not meant to fully replace, not a therapist, not fully replace your coach. I think that the human element cannot be fully replaced by AI, but it can be supplementing what you already have.
Very interesting. So are you getting more coaches to kind of tap onto Maibel as well?
This could be in the future.
Okay.
Yeah. For now, I think we would really like to test out like what would interests the women the most and help support them by building out the technical infrastructure.
Right. So, I mean, it would be very helpful for other fitness coaches as well because they also can't be everywhere at every time, right? Not 3 a.m. in the morning when someone really needs them. Well, beyond habit formation and fitness, what broader impact do you hope Mabel will have on women's mental and emotional well-being as well?
Yeah, I think to remember that, self-care is really important for women. And I think I've trained so many women and I realized that they always feel really guilty when they have to make time for themselves, especially if they have families. And I think there is also strength in adopting softness. You don't always have to push to grind, the rise and grind mentality doesn't necessarily work for women, especially when we take on so much of the mental and emotional load. And I think we have very unique needs that we should embrace and also honor for ourselves. And secondly, I think another thing is also I hope to inspire more women to step up to create solutions for women because I think we have unique perspectives that we can bring to the world and also to support other women as well.
All right. Well, for some of our listeners who want to kind of use Mabel, how do they get on board? Do they have to sign up with you as for you to be their fitness coach first? How does it work?
Okay, so currently we are launching like a wait list and we are going to have our next wave of private beta testers.
Okay.
But just for listeners, you can go on to Maibel, Maibel.com, and then they can sign up for the wait list. And if they're selected, they will just be onboarded on Telegram and they get early access to try out Evren.
Amazing. Well, before we let you go here, as AI and women's wellness needs continue to evolve, Mabel, how do you see Maibel, growing? What are your future plans for the app in 2026 and beyond?
So currently we just have one companion, but I'm hoping to have like a whole universe. So a constellation of different AI coaching agents that will help meet different needs for women. And also I hope to be the go-to wellness companion for women in Southeast Asia and to impact like millions of lives. Yeah, so this is actually my goal.
All right. Looking forward to it. Well, thank you so much, Mabel, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Mabel Loh, founder of Maibel. This has been The Right Business with me, Hongbin Jeong.
Money FM 89.3